Hi everyone, Nubkeks here. The PTR is currently updating with the May 11th updates. So let's check out the patch notes here in today's video. All of the class changes and new content that is coming in this update. I think this might be a slightly bigger one than last time. So, well, let's see. First, haven't read through these yet. Demon Hunter Havoc, first up. The Unnatural Malice Conduit now increases the hunt's damage over time effect. It used to increase the initial damage to the primary target. I suspect this is probably mostly targeted at PvP, I would guess, and just sort of, you know, absolutely clapping people and almost one-shotting them with the hunt. So I would say that's probably what that is going to be about. I haven't seen the actual numbers. Presumably, it will still do the same overall amount of damage. It will just be less bursty. For Druid, balanced Druids have received another buff to their new talent, so Stellar Drift's redesign. So its current form, in case you missed the last patch, it now increases Starfall's damage by 50%, and you can cast while moving with it active. But it is now going to have a 12-second cooldown that has been reduced from 15 seconds. So this is a buff. So you'll have Starfall up for 8 seconds out of every 12 seconds if you cast it on cooldown with this, with a 50% increased damage. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. It's DPS neutral, right? It's DPS neutral. You've got it up, 8 seconds, then plus 4 seconds worth of damage. With this, it's a 12-second cooldown, so that is 12 seconds worth of damage every 12 seconds. So it's DPS neutral, but it does give you the access to casting while moving. And also, again, like I've mentioned every time I talked about this, it does make Starfall burstier, right? It does make it burstier because, hey, in a 12-second window, it's unlikely, or let's say it's not unlikely, but it's not always going to be the case that everything is going to live the full 12 seconds. You know, you're fighting 5 target dummies, and they're always alive for 12 seconds straight. You can definitely have, ads spawn in raid fights or in dungeons. They're only alive for like 5, 6, 7 seconds, something like that. You know, they're nuked down as quickly as possible. This is better for that too, in terms of damage profile. I think this is a good change. Like I've said, I actually quite like this idea. Have it be more powerful, but have a cooldown. I like that. I think that's a good talent design. It was just about finding the right numbers, and I think this probably, we'll see, but I think this probably is the right numbers. It was initially way too weak, so good. Paladin, Holy then. Lots of changes here. Flash of Light healing increased by 20%. Infusion of Light consumed by Holy Light now causes Holy Light to generate 1 holy power. This used to be 30% additional healing. This is a pretty big deal, because this is actually a pretty substantial playstyle change, right? That Infusion of Light proc now has quite a big impact. If you spend it on that Holy Light, get an extra holy power, get your Word of Glory or your Light of Dawn quicker, whatever, that's pretty meaningful. So this is actually quite a meaningful change that you'll really notice in your gameplay as a Holy Paladin. Intriguing. The damage of all abilities has been reduced by 8%. Ashen Hallow damage has been reduced by additional 10%. Hammer of Wrath damage reduced by an additional 10%. Judgment damage reduced by additional 10%. I think all this stuff makes sense. I mean, if we hop on to Warcraft logs really quick, let's take a little look here. And if we look at statistics, we look at damage, and if we look at healers, and I'll show you why this is important. This is how damage for healers looks like in Castle Nathria right now. So, do Holy Paladins deserve these nerfs? Yeah, obviously they do. Like, they do literally twice the amount of damage as every other spec. We'll see exactly what this, when these numbers are actually, put into the game, what does this actually add up to? I think they probably will still be very good at damage, but they just won't be as ridiculous as they were before. Obviously, Ashen Hallow is perhaps the biggest offender. It's just a massive AoE damage and AoE healing burst CD. Really strong. So, yeah, I think these are great changes. I mean, this needed to happen. I even think, I'm going to be honest, I even think it's probably not enough. But we'll see. Crusader Strike mana cost increased to 11%, up from 9%. Crusader's Might talent reduces the cooldown of Holy Shock by 1 second, was 1.5. So this actually has a fairly significant gameplay effect as well. You're going to get well, not fairly significant, a fairly minor, half a second less cooldown reduction on Holy Shock whenever you do your Crusader Strike. It's kind of a bummer, but then, I mean, these Infusion of Light things giving you more holy power, it should work out probably as a net benefit. Fix an issue that increased the damage of Hallowed Discernment, the Venthyr conduit for Holy Paladins. Interesting. So I guess there was a bug also increasing their damage. I'm not sure what that was, so I can't comment. For Priest then, Holy Priest, Symbol of Hope has been redesigned. bolster the morale of party or raid members within 40 yards. They each recover 60 seconds of cooldown on a major defensive ability, and they regain 18% missing mana over 5 seconds. So they'd already redesigned this. They'd already put in the defensive cooldown part, which I think is really cool. I think that's really, really interesting and unique and fun, and I like that a lot. I think that's pretty awesome, and planning stuff around that in like a mythic raid is going to be great. Boosting up the missing mana is also, I think, a good choice. It just makes it feel a bit more impactful, especially, you know, if you pop this kind of early in the fight, you know, let's say after 1 or 2 minutes of the fight to get people cooldown back on their major defensive, it's going to feel pretty bad. Like, the mana is going to be almost negligible. So I think that's kind of nice. I think it's cool. So there you go. For Warlocks, Destruction, Eradication now also increases the damage of pets and guardians. That's a nice buff. For Affliction, Haunt, and Shadow Embrace now also increase the damage of pets and guardians as well. That's great too. And from the Shadows now also increases your pet's Shadow Flame damage. So I think, again, these are probably good changes. I guess sort of the intuitive thing, you would sort of expect that they did already do that they would increase the damage of your pet, because you don't necessarily think of those, you know, you and your pet being kind of separate, I guess, and you know, in terms of what it's my DPS at the end of the fight. It's my damage, so I think this is good. I think that's great. Yeah, cool. Especially from the Shadows, I think makes sense, because like it's your, yeah, I think this is good. For Covenants then, Conduits. Higher item level versions of most existing conduits can now be found in the world, more to be implemented in a later build. So that's pretty much expected. You're going to get higher item levels of your conduits. Shocker. We have the new mega dungeon, Tazavesh. The Veiled Market is now live for testing, so I'm going to be checking that out. It starts at the Oribos Innkeeper, so simple enough. So I'm going to hopefully try to get on tonight and check that out and get used to videos quickly. As quickly as possible. For PvP, upgrading PvP items now relies on your best rating of the week, was current rating. So yeah, best rating of the week, it means that if you go in and, you know, you don't have to, let's say you hit your breakpoint, like, oh yes, I just got to my breakpoint for upgrading my PvP items. Oh, guess we better stop PvPing for now, guys, and go upgrade that stuff. That's not going to punish you if you're, you know, you're on a roll and you play a couple of extra games and maybe lose them. You know, it's whatever. You got 1800, you got 2100, whatever it is, you can upgrade them to that point, I suppose. PvP cloaks, necklaces, and crowd control trinkets now appear less frequently in the Great Vault. That's probably a nice thing, because they're very low stat budget items, so it feels pretty bad to get those as a reward. PvP staves no longer appear in the Great Vault for Shaman. Okay, again, that's good. Yeah, Shaman can actually use, like caster Shamans, obviously, can now actually use shields. They're not going to be feeling bad having a staff and losing all that armor. Repeat arena skirmish wins will now reward 3 conquest, was 0. And then I'm not going to go into all this, because look at all this stuff. Again, I'm not a PvP player, so there's literally no point in me reading this stuff. I'll obviously put the link in the description. You can read through. It's mostly Death Knights, so I don't... I'm far from an expert on Death Knight, and I'm far from an expert on Death Knight PvP. Yeah, cool. I've played against them a few times, I guess. That's about all. That's about all. Okay, Rune Carver. Priestess new powers. Ooh, fun. In the Maw, we have more dailies have been added in. That's cool. A new thing here, the Archivist's Codex. Discover more of Korthia's ancient secrets as you recover relics for the Reliquary of Remembrance that were lost in the wake of the Mossworn invasion. Players can begin the Archivist's Codex by rescuing Scholar Rosur near the Seeker's Quorum. Recover relic fragments from treasures, bosses, and enemies to improve your reputation. More changes will be coming to this system in the following weeks. So weeks, that is the time frame for the patch. Yes. I think this sounds cool, though. So it's a reputation for doing, treasures, bosses, and just fighting random enemies. So and it's going to be grindy. Look, it's a very straightforward grindy thing, but just something that you'll slowly build up, slowly and steadily make progress as you do these sort of different events and stuff in the Maw, which is great to earn Korthia. New rares and treasures to discover in Korthia and Desmeteron. Wonderful. Even more stuff added. Great. And then for Torghast, the amount of Soul Ash that is awarded for the first completed run of the week for any given Torghast wing and lair has been increased. Repeat runs of previously completed Torghast wings and lairs will now award partial Soul Ash. So my understanding of this is that you can now infinitely grind Torghast. You can literally go in and do as much as you want to get your Soul Ash. which is great. This is probably the way it should be. And it's very simply the first run in each wing per week will just give you, I think they talked about like 50% extra or something like that. Maybe double, I'm not sure, but it'll give you an extra big chunk. So it means that, hey, if you want to go and grind out all your soul ash, you can go and do that. If you're a bit more chill, you're not in a huge rush, you can just, you know, get the benefit of the weekly bonus and get it done there, which is awesome. Now, bear in mind, this is just soul ash so far. Soul cinders are the new currency. They're the new currency that you'll need in 9.1 to upgrade your legendaries to the new ranks. And I believe that that will still work on the weekly lockout, which again, I think sucks. Honestly, put this in for soul cinders as well. Just let people go in and grind out as much as they want, but then give these weekly bonuses. So it, you know, it goes, hey, you know, you don't have to go in every week. You don't have to. Just go and do it whenever you want to do it. But if you kind of space it out, if you're more chill, especially for more casual players, yeah, you know, you're going to get extra big bonuses every single week to help you, you know, keep up and catch up. And I think that's brilliant. So I would like to see this just be the standard. I think it's much better, way better. But there you are, guys. That is the patch notes. That is everything we've got so far. Kind of cool patch. Very nice. Very interested to see the Holy Paladin stuff. It's probably the biggest thing here. So thank you for watching, everyone. And oh, of course, you know, it's just a small line in the patch note, but in terms of content, this is the big chunk of content. New mega dungeon. Really excited to check that out. Stay tuned on the channel for that. It'll be coming soon. Also, there's more raid testing this week as well. In 2 days from now, yeah, 2 days, we've got I think the final 2 heroic bosses we're gonna be seeing, aside from Sylvanas, not her, but the other 2 that we haven't seen yet. So guys, until then, I'll see you. Bye bye.